Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Mario and I am back. Today I'm going to be working on a Keto Calzone / Hot Pocket using the Fathead dough recipe. Stick around. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my seasoning. Now the ground beef you can just put salt and pepper, but this is going to double for me. Some of these I'm going to use for the Hot Pockets and some I'm going to make for my keto cheater nachos. So I'm not going to use a pre-made taco seasoning because I found they have lots of added carbs and sugars in there. So I'm going to make my own with what you see here. So first things first, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 3 tablespoons of cumin. Oh, this is new. Oh, good luck. 1 tablespoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons of onion powder. The onion powder is pretty messy because it's a powder and it's not granulated, so I always forget that and make a mess when I use it. 2 teaspoons of granulated garlic, a ½ teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a ½ teaspoon of black pepper, and a ½ teaspoon of salt. Now this recipe doesn't come from anywhere in specific. This is just a recipe I put together from a bunch of things that I have seen that I wanted to add. And this is enough for about 2 pounds. I only have a pound, but I'm going to keep this in a separate jar as well. And let's mix this up. Now this is going to be very spicy, of course, but that's okay. We're going to put just enough in there to season the meat the way we want it. And like I said, this is so next time I don't have to go through and make it. I have a spare jar that I'm going to use and put this in there. And when I make my taco stuff, I will be using some of this for that as well. Okay, I got about a pound of ground beef here. This has a higher fat content than usual that I typically use because with keto you want a higher amount of fat and also help with taste. And basically I'm going to prepare this just like my taco meat and other things. I'll pop a link in the description of the different things that I've done with the taco meat. Okay, so the beef is cooked. I'm going to add about 2/3 cup of water, and I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of my seasoning. Now if I was making tacos I'd probably put on a little bit more than this. This should be fine. So I'm going to mix this up. Okay, this looks done. We're going to transfer it to a bowl and we're going to get started on the sweet Italian sausage. Okay, I got a couple of pieces of sweet Italian sausage. Never done this before, but I see people, they're always splitting this in half, pulling out the casing, emptying it out, and cooking it that way. So that's what I'm going to do. Wish I had a couple more, but this will have to do. Okay, the sausage is ready, so let's get started on the bacon. Okay, I got about a ½ pack here of thick bacon. I am going to cut it up into smaller pieces to be more manageable. Now I'm actually going to separate these out now because when I try to separate them out in the pan, I end up having some more cooked than others. So take the time now to separate it, and you'll probably be more thankful later. It sure looks like a lot of bacon, but there's no such thing as too much bacon. Bacon's a little less cooked than I would normally like, but that's okay because once I put it all together, it's going to get cooked a little bit more. Now this part is optional, but you can do it. I'm going to do some peppers and onions as well. Now these do have natural sugars in them, so you want to make sure that you use them sparingly because you know, there is sugar. So let's get some of this going. I'm also cooking this in the bacon fat. If I didn't have the bacon fat, I might use extra virgin olive oil or even maybe a little organic unsalted butter. Okay, and I think it's safe to say the peppers and onions are cooked about the way I want them. So let's go to the next step, the making of the dough. Okay, so I'm going to start my Fathead dough here. This, I originally saw this from Kobe Byerly, I think the name is pronounced. I got my mozzarella cheese here. Now one batch is 1½ cups, but I'm going to make a little bit extra, so it's based on 1½ cups. Now for 1½ cups of cheese you would put 4 ounces of cream cheese, but I'm doing again a little bit more, so I'm just going to pop in the 6 ounces I have there. And we're going to need to microwave this for about a minute, minute and a half, and then we're going to mix it up and then microwave it again as needed so we get a nice good consistency. Okay, it's fairly melted. We're going to mix this up, and chances are we're going to throw it back in there for, you know, a little bit longer. As long as this is nice and mixed and consistent, you'll be fine. I'll put the link in the description. Now, I'm not a fan of cream cheese, but my brother says, you know, you can't look at it as cream cheese. You need to look at it as an ingredient to a recipe. And as long as you go with that in mind, you'll be fine. You really don't taste the cream cheese. Okay, so this is mixed up pretty well. Now we need to add a cup of almond flour. Now, we're going to add a cup now and a cup later. We just want to mix it up. There's my cup in there. I'm going to add, it calls for 1 beaten egg. I have 2 because I'm making more than just 1 batch. And as we mix it, we're going to make sure that we add more flour, or almond flour is needed. I'm going to start to roll this by hand and add more almond flour as I need to. Now you need to get your hands in there. You don't want this too wet. You know, you can wet your fingers with water a little bit to make it work. Now, if you're going to use this as a pizza dough, you can add some of the spices you wanted to it right now. Going to keep kneading this like a dough. I've only made pizza dough half a dozen times or so. So that's what I'm going on based on that consistency. Kobe mentions using this dough to make a lot of things. She'll make crackers. She'll make you know, pizza dough and that kind of thing. And this is going to be the base of a lot of my keto stuff for breading, because I'll tell you, bread is really hard to give up. There are some things that were easier to give up, but I'd say that the bread is by far right now the hardest to give up. I'm gonna put a blob of dough down, wax paper on top, smush this out, just roll this out a little bit. I'm not going to use my wooden board because this does have nuts, and my daughter has a nut allergy, and the last thing I want to do is have that board contaminated. Okay, let's peel this up. There we go, that's number 1. I'm going to start to add some of the meats to it. So I have some of the hamburger, some of the sausage, some of the bacon, and just a little bit of onion and pepper. And you know what? I'm going to add one other thing. I'm going to add a couple of olives, because why not? Now the fun part, to roll this all up and close it up. It is tearing a little bit, but I'll fix that. Probably overstuffed it just a little bit. First time's always an experiment, folks. And there we go. Okay, I'm out of my GoWISE parchment punch hole, so I went with the cheaper stuff because it was cheaper. And I have the Hot Pocket. That went in there pretty well. Let's get it in the air fryer. Now, if I was doing this in the oven, I would do 350. So I'm going to go down to 320, and I'll start at 10 minutes, and we'll take a look. Halftime show. So again, this is the first time I've made anything like this. I did make keto meatballs, and they were actually pretty good. I was surprised. I'll have a video out. I also had another video out, but the problem is it got corrupted from the camera to the computer. It's just some weird issue where I could watch the whole thing, but it didn't recognize more than 20 seconds, unfortunately. I'm also going to use this dough recipe for pizza. I'm going to be using it for several things, and I'm hoping that this kind of cures that desire to want the bread. It's been really hard. We had an outing, and it was pizza. That's what they were serving, and I just kept looking at it, and I knew I couldn't have it. But on a good note, 26 pounds is what I have dropped to date as of today. So I'm happy about that. I think what I'm going to do is pop up somewhere before and after at some point so you can see the difference, because everybody sees the difference. I don't, but that's me. That's usually how it works. Also, links in the description for The person I referenced earlier for the dough recipe for my Facebook and Instagram accounts. Google Plus has pretty much gone away. I also have Pintrest, and I'll try to remember to post that below as well. Anyway, let's get back to the food. Okay, that's been about 10 minutes. Let's take a look. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's get that transferred over. Let's cut this thing in half. Could have added some pepperoni in here too. That's what I should have did. Oh yeah. Nice and piping hot. There you go. That's what it looks like. Now, the almond flour does have some carbs. I also have some low carb sauce I made, no added sugars. And also some salsa is a good choice, so if you want to go Dunkin'. But let's give this a try. There you go. Take a look at that. It's going to be real hot. Keeping in mind that I had already cooked the food. It was still warm. So it's just a matter of this dough. It's not bad. It almost tastes more like a biscuit. If you've ever had a McDonald's biscuit, that's what it tastes more like. But you know what this is doing? It's curing my want for bread. Oh. It gets better with each bite. Try a little bit of this sauce. This is the sauce I made with my keto meatballs. That's good. And try a little salsa. Salsa is not bad. If you can make your own homemade salsa, that's even better. I need a little water. Oh, I haven't had caffeine or soda in 3 months, or bread since mid-January. 26 pounds down, as I mentioned. I have to say, I'm happy with the way this turned out. In fact, I'm glad I made the extra dough, so I'm going to make a bunch of these, cook them. Cook the dough, or I don't even have to. I can freeze it, but I can cook them, wrap them, and then have them as lunches or breakfast. I also have some large pepperoni. I could have stuck that in there, but I'm really happy I did this experiment because I can enjoy pizza again. Again, there are carbs in these ingredients. It's just a low carb / keto recipe. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm putting out a new video. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Good. I'm back, baby. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Mario, and today we are looking at a Keto Calzone / Hot Pocket. Stick around. Was that too much over the top?